Warning, this episode of Ace Attorney Arguments is going to contain massive spoilers for episode 9 of The Amazing Digital Circus. You have been warned. That's how you do a spoiler alert, you f***ing chuds. Well, Edward, now that we're back from the Digital Circus movie, what do you think? I think the movie speaks for itself, right? It was straight ass! Objection! Edgeworth, what in that movie could have possibly made you say that? I think it was a very good ending to the series. God, right, don't tell me you're into this Winnie Hot Junior ass show. The stakes could have been much higher and the episode could have been much more interesting. What do you mean the stakes could have been higher? Kane was gone, they were under the risk of Jack abstracting, plus the ending was as good as it could be with the way things turned out to be. For God's sake, right, the show was inspired by I have no mouth and I must scream. If it wanted to match up to that energy, we could have gotten more graphic imagery than what we were given. Kane was supposed to be this big-time villain that hates the cast for not letting him complete his directive. Instead, we got this Disney movie-looking ending. Hold it! Edgeworth, inspired does the main copy. Those are called rip-offs. Digital Circus is overall its own entity and provides good ideas and creativity to the plot. Now yeah, there obviously wasn't much conflict to keep the audience engaged, but that's what's to be expected when the guy who kept the place running just up and vanishes. I guess they could have done more with abstracts, but it's really not even that big of an issue. Besides, it was trying more to convey that impact of realization that there was just little to no hope. Plus, I think it was pretty clear that Kane wasn't truly ever a big bad. Yeah, he had the whole crash out, but the night shows that the blue side is like an evil half. Overall, Kane is just an AI that couldn't fully comprehend humans or their complex feelings. Also, why are people complaining that the ending was happy and cheerful? Did we just want everyone to abstract? I'd argue that it was more bittersweet than anything. Hold it! Speaking of Jax, he was taking up most of the screen time, making Pomni feel more like a minor character compared to the rest of the show. This is a clear sign of favoritism, even towards a shittily written character. Well, I agree Jax takes up too much screen time from the other cast members, especially since Gooseworks confirmed that he was a self-insert. Simultaneously though, Jax was the one character with the most mystery surrounding him. It was definitely a long time coming with Zia's backstory. Plus, Gooseworks pretty much said themselves that Jax was considered the main character. Alright, I'm probably gonna get some backlash from this, but Jax is actually still one of my favorite characters even after this movie. Hold it! Right, how the hell do you enjoy that absolute asshole Jax? The whole show, he's just been a total punk to everyone for no real reason. The others try to support him constantly despite this, and he still pushes them away, leading to his much-deserved incident. Yeah, I get all that. In fact, it was a total gut punch when Jax Porter's held out to Ribbit, then proceeds to treat her like shit even after she promises to never tell anyone in secret. So I totally get the hate, especially after this movie. But the movie also tries to make a point that deep down, they're all just human. Even if people are cruel and evil, we can still choose to be a better person and try to guide them down a better path. People like Zubul, who hated Jax the whole time, knew it would be unfair to exclude Jax from the group in episode 8. Even Gengo, his most bullied victim, showed some sympathy towards him. And even though it's not really a good reason, the show at least gave us a reason why Jax acts like this. It's really a complex problem that unfortunately can happen to people. Being stuck in a digital prison definitely wouldn't help the case either. None of this makes him any more of a likable character, right? Didn't say it does. I just think Jax was a necessary evil to provide more conflict and complexity to everyone. Not like him is kind of the point of his character, and Gooseworks clearly succeeded in that by kind of making him a punk-ass bitch. Let's not leave out that there were still some plot holes left all over the place. There was no further expansions upon Scratch or the other abstracted members, nothing to add leverage to the CNN company, and we don't even fully learn what the Blue AI was. While I can see your point in those probably being forgotten, they could also just be things left up for interpretation, something for fans to ponder on and make theories for. It's something a lot of shows do. Like, I made this little theory in my head that the Blue AI is just a second Kane. Like, both of them are Kane and the balls are just their true essential form, and the Kane we see is just a projection that he uses to seem somewhat presentable. Yeah, it's annoying that there are still a lot of unanswered questions and mysteries surrounding the lore, but in the end, does it really matter that much? The plot was them trying to escape the circus, not to expose CNA as an evil company or trying to understand the abstracted characters. It doesn't help that the ending was quite predictable. Game theory literally gets the plot twist since episode 1. Yeah, but sometimes theories just end up being true. Could you imagine how unstable it could turn if Gooseworks kept changing things just to avoid being predictable? Having predictable moments isn't entirely a bad thing, better than having an ending that just doesn't make sense in hopes of diverting expectations. Objection! Well, right, that was a pretty decent argument. However, you made one little fumble on one of those statements. Huh? A fumble? I don't... Wait! That's right. You said, they're just human. Which is in fact not the case. After the reveal that they were all digital neuroscans of their real selves, that's when it all crumbled. The whole time, the characters we've been watching struggle and reach their goal, they've been nothing but copies of the actual person. This is just as, if not even worse than Dream Theory. After all those episodes, after so much anticipation, it was all for nothing. We've just been watching frauds. Objection! What the hell? I'm gonna have to disagree with you there, Edgeworth. Right, did you not hear me? They're fakes, not real. No, Edgeworth, think about it. They're perfect digital clones of their real selves. Don't you realize that they're as real as they can be? I don't follow, right? You're just repeating what I said. They're clones. Edgeworth, think about it. They're perfect clones. Complete with their personalities, their feelings, their personal baggage, their goals. Over the whole series, we've seen how these characters react. We've seen them happy, sad, angry, scared. We've related to these characters, cheered for them, hated them, or at the very least acknowledged that they are a character. So many people have grown to love these characters, so why should them being digital copies diminish that love? In the end, they did all they could do. Just make the best of their situation and embrace the people they've become. And it's so much better because Kane had the biggest epiphany. He finally listened and studied the people who claimed to be friends. And Lily threw away a part of himself to become a better person and a better host for the guests he's been tasked to take care of. So yeah, even though they're just digital characters in a computer, they're still complex characters that people have grown to love. Because even in the last act, they all were the amazing digital circus. Shut the fuck up. Sorry.